Hey Team Titleist, Cameron Smith here. It's Tuesday at the Open and I'm going to take you through my bag. How I mark my golf ball. Use a purple Sharpie just because it's closest to maroon for me. And I just go straight over the Pro V1X. Nothing crazy. Just like that. When I was younger, I used to go kind of in and out of using it, and then I just kind of got used to marking the ball like that and never really went away from it when I went away from the line. So I line up my putts using the Titleist actually on top, so my line will kind of sit out the front. I think I went away from that because I was getting too into the line, like kind of falling in love with the line, and then yeah, just over time I used the top for a little bit, and then I just got the Titleist on top just because I felt comfortable that way. I've used a Pro V1X probably since I was about 15 years old. I've always liked the feel of it, kind of a little bit firmer. I feel like you can feel the hit a little bit more. I've always kind of struggled to, especially in the longer irons, to get the ball up in the air. This just gives me a little bit more, holds the ball up in the air for a little bit, and then lands really soft too. And then the spin around the greens for me is the biggest thing, staying with it. I think, you know, those short, kind of flighted shots, I think I can spin this ball the most and just control with the wedges. I went straight in actually at the US Open into the GT3. Didn't change my shaft. We changed the loft actually. They brought a head out that was the same loft as my TSR3. It was going really high. The spin was still good, but just that higher flight window just really wasn't feeling it. So we knocked it down, got a little bit more speed out of it actually as well. And then that window was perfect. So I didn't really have to change too much, to be honest. I just kind of put it in the bag, knocked the loft down, and away she went. Probably the ones I go after, probably getting an extra mile or two an hour, so probably, you know, 4 or 5 meters in the air, which is nice, particularly on those par 5s where you're trying to get 2 and 2, or a longer par 4 and you can really kind of try and send it down there. But for me as well, the biggest thing was the heel and toe misses, just straightening out a little bit. I feel as though I've hit the fairway a little bit more the last month than I have in the past. So yeah, love the sound. I've always loved kind of I guess like a deadened sound off the face, a real thuddy noise, and the sound is unreal. That's probably been the biggest thing for me, is the sound of the driver. It just feels solid. The way the ball feels off the face is, I think, the best that Titleist have ever done. Especially those heel and toe misses, I feel like it doesn't really feel like you're hitting it off the heel of the toe. It still kind of feels like the middle of the club face, and I think that shows in the flight as well. This is my 7 wood. This is the oldie goldie for me. I actually changed my head last year from my original one, which I think was 6 or 7 years old. So it was pretty old. I think for me, it's always been a club that I've really relied on, those long par 3s, maybe out of some thick rough, just kind of scooting it up near the green. And yeah, I just can't get over this one. It's just been in the bag forever. The irons, 6 iron through 9 iron, the T100s, have used the black finish since the AP2s. Since they come out, I can't remember how long ago. I think for me, just how they looks like a tighter kind of finish line on top. They also look a little bit smaller, so I feel like you kind of have to concentrate a little bit more to see it. And then the 150 in the 5 iron, as I said before, I think that's kind of where I've always struggled with flight. So we went to the 150, just a little bit more kind of CG down the bottom, helped get the ball up and stop a little bit more. For one, it doesn't look too dissimilar, because I love to look at these. It was just really a flight thing for me. I feel like if I miss-hit the 5 iron, it still gets on the front, still gives myself a putt at birdie, and then I can really send it up in the air if I'm flying some water or something on a par 5. So yeah, really versatile club. This has been really a game changer for me in the long irons. I'm in meters, so I'm going to confuse everyone, I feel like. So 5 iron for me is about 195. 6 irons 183, 7 irons 171, 7 to 8 irons probably the biggest gap in the bag for me. I go down to 157, and then 9 irons like 145, 144. So yeah, pretty evenly spread gap. My wedges, I'm in the SM10s. I moved to them straight away. I feel like the fairway stuff was pretty similar, but out of the rough, I don't know how these guys do it. They're just the best in the business. Feel like I have so much more control. I can get a little bit more spin. So I go 46, 52. In the 46 and the 52, I think I'm in the highest bounce. 56, I go down to like a medium bounce. It's a 08M. and then a 60, I'm probably in the lowest bounce, a tee grind. So I feel like with these two, with the sand wedge and the lob wedge around the greens, I've got a really good mix of being able to open it up and really get some bounce out of the 56. And then if I want some firm stuff like we're going to be this week, really kind of shutting it down and getting that thing to not bounce off the ground. So yeah, I've stuck with this for a long time. Used to travel with a couple of more lobbies, but I feel like I've found a really good mix with the sand wedge and lob wedge to where I can get around pretty much any course. Putter, I've had this one now for a few years. 009M. Scotty welded a different neck on there for me. The reason for that was I was using the Trillium mallet. Had this neck and I really liked the way it flowed, but really liked the look of the 009M, so they made this one up. Yeah, been in for a few years, haven't really looked back. This one's been awesome for me. PGA this year, first grip change, so that was a weird one for me, but getting used to it now. So yeah, I can't see me changing this one for a while. I think that week at St Andrews, the fairways were probably almost faster than the green, so I used this a ton of times from off the green. I remember on the 9th hole one day, I probably used it from 40, 45 yards. For some reason, I feel like I hit a lot of putts out of the middle with this one. It's always felt great, it's always felt solid. To your point, that putt on 18 was probably 100 feet and I didn't feel like I could, not get it around the hole. There was no kind of worry about that. So yeah, it's been unreal for me.